Okay, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking one of the absolutely most intense, counterintuitive, and heavily debated training philosophies in the entire history of physical fitness. We are breaking down Mike Mentzer's legendary heavy-duty training protocol. Now, to really grasp why this system completely shocked the fitness world, you first have to understand the era it was born into, right? Because it was an era dominated by an entirely different way of thinking. I mean, just look at this massive contrast. On one side, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, literally the biggest name in the world, preaching that to build a legendary physique, you basically needed to live in the gym. We're talking 5 to 6 hours a day, 7 days a week, just pumping endless volume. But on the exact opposite side was Mike Mentzer. He looked at that whole philosophy and said, no, that's completely wrong. Mentzer claimed you only needed 30 minutes a day and at most 3 or 4 days a week. It sounds impossible, right? Like, how could a Mr. Universe and Mr. America build a world-class physique in less time than most people spend walking on a treadmill? Section 1. The Ultimate Bodybuilding Rivalry. To understand Mentzer's hyper-efficient methods, we really have to look at the historical clash that fueled this completely opposite approach. Because Mike wasn't just some guy with a theory. He was Arnold's biggest, lifelong rival. Mentzer's journey at the very top was intense and honestly pretty tragic. Back in 1979, he lost the overall Mr. Olympia to Frank Zane, even though Mentzer was the heavier, denser athlete. But the real turning point, that was the 1980 Mr. Olympia. Arnold made this massive surprise comeback and won his 7th title, pushing Mentzer down to an incredibly controversial 4th place, which they actually eventually moved to 5th. Mentzer was just absolutely devastated. He felt completely robbed, almost got into a physical fight with Arnold backstage, and he never accepted those results. And the shock of that 1980 loss actually made Mentzer quit competing forever. But that anger fueled his total dedication to perfecting his revolutionary heavy-duty program. Tragically, in 2001, Mike passed away in his sleep while shooting a training video, and he was followed just 2 days later by his brother Ray. But the heavy-duty formula he left behind, it genuinely changed everything. Section 2, high intensity versus volume. So this brings us to the core philosophy of high-intensity training, or HIT. The concept was actually originally created by Arthur Jones, the guy who invented Nautilus machines. But it was Mike Mentzer who adopted it, modified it, and really perfected it into the heavy-duty system. And it stands in stark contrast to what's popular today. Right now, we see a lot of hypervolumization techniques, like FST7, created by Hani Rambod, which is all about pumping maximum blood into the muscle, almost like a balloon. Mentzer's heavy-duty did the exact opposite, low volume, focusing entirely on breaking the muscle down and building extreme density. So the absolute crucial point here is understanding what Mentzer really meant by the word intensity, because it all hinges on this one concept, absolute failure. Mentzer dictated that a true working set must be pushed to the exact point where doing another repetition is physically impossible. Not just hard, you guys. Impossible. And this failure should ideally hit somewhere between the 6th and 8th rep. If you're lifting a weight and you feel like, hey, I could comfortably push out a 10th or a 13th rep, Mentzer would tell you the weight is simply too light. You aren't doing heavy duty, you're just warming up. Mentzer's own words capture this perfectly. He firmly believed that it wasn't the duration of the workout that sparked muscle growth, but the sheer, brutal intensity of the effort. His philosophy was remarkably clear. Go in, trigger the growth mechanism through absolute maximum exertion, and get out. He preached that spending too much time in the gym actually hindered your body's ability to recover and build dense muscle. Section 3, mechanics of heavy duty. So how exactly does a person pull this off in the gym? Let's take a bit of an investigative approach and break down the actual mechanics. And a quick warning straight from the source material. This counterintuitive, hardcore execution is absolutely not for beginners. It requires a mindset capable of pushing through severe physical barriers. The bizarre mechanics really start before you even hit your main working set. Mentzer prescribed only 1 to 2 warm-up sets per exercise. But here's the shocker. He counted warm-ups using 75% of your total working weight. Think about that for a second. If your main heavy set is going to be 100 kilograms on the pec deck, Mentzer wanted you doing 75 kilograms just to warm up. To a normal person, 75 kilos is a main exhausting set all on its own. But to Mentzer, this was literally just prepping the muscle for the absolute failure that was about to come. And this brings us to one of his most underappreciated techniques, the pre-exhaust superset. Just look at the logic here. If you go straight to an incline barbell press for your chest, your smaller helper muscles, like your triceps or your shoulders, they might get tired and give out before your actual chest muscle does. So your chest still has energy, but your arms are done, meaning the set ends prematurely. Mentzer solved this by isolating the main muscle first. You exhaust the chest completely with the pec deck, and then immediately, with zero rest, you jump straight into the incline barbell press. Now your fresh triceps can help push your completely exhausted chest past its limits, and he applied this everywhere. Leg extensions right before leg press or squats, Nautilus pullovers before underhand pulldowns. It's a really brilliant, if painful, strategy. Section 4. Techniques beyond absolute failure. Reaching failure on that 8th rep? Yeah, that's actually just the beginning. To truly do heavy duty, having a trusted training partner is absolutely mandatory, simply because of the extreme techniques required once your body just cannot lift the weight anymore. Mentzer utilized 3 strict, slow-form techniques to push the body way beyond its physical limits, and you'd only pick one of these per session. First up, forced reps. This is where your partner slightly helps you lift the weight when you're stuck, but you have to control the slow descent. Second, negative reps. When your positive pushing energy is entirely gone, your partner literally lifts the weight for you, and your only job is to fight gravity and resist it dropping, because our muscles can actually hold more weight than they can push. Finally, rest pause. You hit failure, put the weight down, rest exactly 15 seconds, force out one more agonizing rep, and repeat that for 3 to 4 reps. And remember, every single rep must be strictly controlled. Absolutely no jerking or bouncing the weight around. Section 5. The minimalist workout schedule. When you're pushing your body to these terrifying limits, it means you simply cannot be in the gym every day. And this led to Mentzer's incredibly bizarre minimalist workout schedule. Check this out as a perfect example of just how minimalist it really was. Mentzer advised 0 direct abdominal workouts for up to 2 full months. None. He was absolutely confident that if you were pushing extreme compound lifts and triceps work to absolute failure, your core was already fully engaged. He believed your abs would get deeper and more defined purely as a byproduct of stabilizing the insane intensity of the other lifts. So what did the actual routine look like day to day? It was astonishingly brief. You were looking at only 10 total sets per session, covering 3 entirely different body parts. For example, doing legs, chest, and triceps all in one single day. That's roughly 10 minutes per body part, meaning you are completely finished and out of the gym in 30 minutes max. But because the damage to the muscle is so severe, Mentzer mandated at least 72 hours of complete rest between workouts. This created a weird shifting 9-day cycle, like you might work out Monday, rest Tuesday and Wednesday, work out Thursday, rest Friday and Saturday, and then work out Sunday. Interestingly, this actually bridges Mentzer's hyper-efficient philosophy with standard bodybuilding wisdom. Mentzer insisted that the ultimate metric for growth wasn't just your strength increasing, but the actual hardness of the muscular contraction. He essentially said that if you don't have a deep mind-muscle connection, like if you aren't really squeezing and feeling the muscle work, the training program is completely fake. Ironically, even though Arnold and Mentzer absolutely hated each other's training styles, they entirely agreed on this end goal. Whether you're doing 5 hours of volume or 30 minutes of heavy duty, the universal key to growth is hard, focused contractions. Section 6. Risks of extreme intensity. Okay, we've explored the incredible efficiency of this method, but to provide a full and fair explainer, we have to objectively look at the legacy of heavy duty. Like, why isn't everyone in the world training this way today? Well, it comes down to the heavy criticism the system faces regarding safety. The stark reality is that heavy duty has a reputation for being exceptionally brutal on the human body. Because you're pushing to and past absolute failure, often when the body is fatigued and dehydrated before a contest, the risk of severe muscle tears and snapping tendons is incredibly high. 6-time Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates used this exact style and suffered massive injuries. He literally tore his biceps, his triceps, and ruined his shoulder, which ultimately cut his career short. Because of this, modern athletes like Phil Heath lean heavily toward volumization training like FST7. It's considered much more muscle-friendly and promotes a significantly longer, less injury-prone career. Now, we aren't taking sides here, but the historical shift towards safer volume training is a direct response to the brutal toll of high-intensity training. And that brings us to the ultimate reflection after unpacking today's explainer. Heavy duty proves that more time in the gym absolutely does not automatically equal better results, but it does demand an unbelievable physical toll in exchange for that extreme efficiency. So looking at your own fitness journey, where do you draw the line? Do you choose the time-saving, brutal efficiency of Mike Mentzer's high-intensity, constantly pushing past failure? Or do you lean toward the safer, pump-focused volume of modern training to protect your long-term health and longevity? It's a fascinating question and one that continues to divide the entire fitness world today.